This is Algebra 1. We are on Lesson 5-5 today. Today is January 15th. Please put the date on your papers, 1/15. Make sure your name is on your paper. Today we're talking about writing slope-intercept equations. So yesterday we learned how to graph. Today we're going backwards. They give you a graph. Now you need to give the equation from that graph. Let's do a little bit of a review. Slope-intercept form. What is that? If I say slope-intercept form, you will say y equals blah, 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 blah. Quiet raised hand. What is slope-intercept form? And if you don't know, look at your notes from yesterday. Slope-intercept form. It has an M in there somewhere, a B in there somewhere. Slope-intercept form. I'm looking for someone that has a card still because we got 5 turned in from the warm-up. Someone that has a card still. Monse. Y equals mx plus b. And I'm not done with you, Monse. Keep your notes open. What are m and b?
The m is the slope, and the b is the intercept.
Which intercept? There's 2 intercepts. There's an x and a y. Ah, it's the y-intercept. All right. Thank you, Monse. You can turn in your card. All right. So everyone's writing that down. And I need to give a bunch of people XP, so let me go back and do that right now. So far we have Monse just did hers, Andres did the warm-up, Jose did the warm-up, Gunnar did the warm-up, Compton, where are you? There you are, and Jessica. All right, everyone got their 50 XP. All right, moving on. Find the equation of this line. All right, so this is one of the 2 types of questions that I can be asking you tonight for the homework. We have 2 homework assignments. One is looking at a graph. One is hard. It's like a word problem where they just give you 2 points. And those are harder, so I'm going to give 2 examples of those. These are easier, so I'm going to only do 1 example of these. Find the equation of the line. Well, just like when we graph these things, let's start with the easiest thing, the y-intercept. You just have to look for that. The y-intercept. What is the y-intercept? Quiet raised hand. What is the y-intercept of this graph? Of this graph right here. People that still have a card. People that still have a card. Jennifer. 2. Yeah, there it is. Our y-intercept was 2. That means if I'm filling in my slope-intercept, my b is going to be 2. So we can say y is equal to, we don't know the slope. We can say, okay, we don't know the slope. Slope x plus the y-intercept, but we know the y-intercept, that is 2. Let's fill in 2 there. We need to figure out what this m is. What is that slope? So now we have to figure that out. What I want you guys to do right now is do that in your groups because we know how to find slope. We've been doing this for a few days now. Find the slope of this line and then we'll come back. We're back. We spent 2 minutes finding the slope. So first of all, what is the definition of slope? Slope is equal to what? And you will all yell it out at me, but I'm looking for a quiet raised hand of Sergio. Delta y over delta x. Thank you, Sergio. You can turn in your card. Delta y over delta x. Exactly. So, therefore, the slope is, quiet raised hand, quiet raised hand. Who has the actual slope with a card, Fernando?
Y equals negative 2x over 3.
Negative 2x over 3, so negative 2/3 is your slope?
Yeah.
And I should do this in a blue color. Negative 2 over 3. Well, let's check that work. So, from this point, I went down to 1, 2, and I can maybe, I can go down to 1, 2, and then I go right 3, 1, 2, 3. So the 3 is correct. You went right 3, and you went down 2. Y is negative 2. I agree. It is negative 2/3. You can turn in your cards, Fernando. Thank you very much. So that means our whole equation, I can put this negative 2/3 in here, and I'm going to just rewrite this for the sake of rewriting it. Our equation for this line in slope-intercept form is y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2. There it is, and box it. We can say that is our final answer. If you didn't rewrite it and you just left it up here, you can box that answer. That is our full-on equation. Find the y-intercept, find the slope. We know how to find both those things now, and we make our equation. This guy, example 2, is a little bit harder. So we need to find the equation of a line through those 2 points. So, again, and let's all shout this at the same time. The equation for the slope, if I say slope is equal to, you are going to yell 1, 2, 3. There it is, yes. Delta y over delta x. It wasn't in unison, but you guys all got it. So that means it's the change in y's first. So I'm looking at u1, I'm looking at u negative 2. What is the difference between those two? I can either say always do this one, the second one minus the first one, or I can always say the first one minus the second one. Stereotypically, most students throughout the entire United States will always do the second one minus the first one. So I'm going to just go along with everyone else. So I'm going to say this 1 minus this 2. Here I'm going to say that and I'm going to write it down. 1 minus this negative 2. So there's a double negative. 1 minus a negative 2. All right, who can do the bottom for me? Who can do the denominator for me? Quiet raised hand. There's still a few cards out there. We have, yeah, Josie?
4 minus 8.
Did you have your card turned in? Okay, cool. Yeah, so you said 4 minus 8? Uh-oh, there's a problem with that, Josie. See if you can find it yourself, and if you're not, you can call on someone else. Yeah, go for it, Joseph.
8 minus 4.
Why is it 8 minus 4 and not 4 minus 8? Because you're correct, it is 8 minus 4.
8 first.
Yeah, the 8 first. So the reason here, just expanding more on what Josie said, let me go back and give you your XP before I forget. The reason is because we're always doing the second point minus the first point. We decided to do that, so second minus first, so it's always 8 minus the 4. All right. And if you guys decide to do first minus the second, I'm not going to take off points. That's totally mathematically correct. All right, now I need to simplify this. I need one person to simplify the top and the bottom. That still has their card. Sorry, Andres. We need to get everyone in, and then we can go. So I think we have only one card left. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You turned in your card, though, didn't you? Oh, I haven't called on you. So there's two people. There's Eder and Cohen. Cohen, you can do this one for us? All right.
Since the top's 2 negatives, you can make both positive.
Okay.
That's 3 over 4.
3 over 4. There it is. So we have the slope. Thank you, Cohen. But now we need to find the y-intercept. And that is really hard because if they just gave us the y-intercept, if one of these points was, for example, 0, 3, then we'd be like, oh, well, there's a y-intercept. The y-intercept is 3, and we can plug that into the equation. But unfortunately, they did not give us the y-intercept, so we somehow need to find that. And almost all the problems on Khan Academy are going to be like that. But let's fill in this slope-intercept equation with what we have. So let's go ahead and rewrite this, but we know now what the slope is. So we're going to say now y is equal to 3/4, because we just found that slope, x. And then we don't know what our y-intercept is, so let's just say plus b for now, plus b. And here's the trick. Whenever you're solving an equation, you only want to have one variable, one unknown. We can get one unknown. We can get this b by itself by eliminating x and y because, well, not by eliminating, but by substituting in something for that x and y. I can sub in either of these numbers. I can sub in this one or this one. Both of them will give me the correct answer. Both of them will be the same correct answer. All right, so Eder, which one do you want to plug in? You want to plug in first one or the second one? And then you're going to do it for us. Second one? Okay, what gets plugged in where? Does 8 get plugged into the y or the x?
X.
It does, so it's going to be 3/4 times that 8. And therefore, what gets plugged in for the y? Eder? Yes, it is 1. 1 gets plugged in for the y, and then I have plus b. So I had the same equation, but now I plugged in for x and y. So we can make a note here, plug in. Plug in either point. And then we just need to solve for b. All right, so everyone has their cards in, and Eder, you can turn in your card whenever you want. Everyone has their card in. You can participate as many times as you would like now. How do I solve this thing? How do I solve? Somehow I need to simplify this multiplication. Can anyone simplify that for us? Fernando?
You put a 1 into the 8, and then you multiply across.
Multiply across, okay, 3 times 8. 4 times 1. All right, plus b is equal to 1. Thank you, Fernando. All right, now I have 24 over 4. Can someone reduce 24 over 4 with a quiet raised hand? 24 divided by 4 reduces to, Jose? 6 over 1. So I'm going to come back up here because I ran out of room. You might not have run out of room. And now I have 1 still on the left-hand side. Nothing happened. And 6 over 1, or just 6 plus b. 6 and b kind of look the same thing, but that is a 6 plus a b. I reduced 24 over 4 to just 6. All right, Jose got his XP. Next step is to do what? Quiet his hand. What do I do next, Sergio? Minus 6 on both sides. There it is. And Sergio, what do I have on the left-hand side? Negative 5. Those 6's cancel out, and that is my b. And that's almost the correct answer, but now I need to re-plug it in because it's asking for the entire equation. Well, I have all of the equation except for b right now, so I'm going to rewrite this green equation, but put in the b. And here we go. I'm going to do that right here. So I'm going to rewrite y is equal to 3/4 x, and then plus b is minus 5, so it's just going to be plus negative 5 or just minus 5. And there's our final answer. Box it. All right, we're on to the next problem. This problem is going to be almost the exact same problem as example 2. Let's see if you can work on it with your groups now. It's going to be the same process. And let me write out the steps. You have a lot of room here, so I can use some of them with the steps. Step 1, find the slope. Step 2, fill in the y equals mx plus b equation. Step 3, substitute either point in for x and y. And finally, step 4, solve for b. There are 4 steps to do this. There they are. I'm going to let you go off on your own or with your group, whatever you want. Try to solve example 3 without or with as little help from Mr. Sindel as possible. We are back. We're going rapid fire. All right, first person, find the slope. Someone help me find the slope. Go for it, Andres.
So it's going to be 4 minus negative 5.
4 minus negative 5, the change in y over the change in x, which is?
6 minus negative 3.
And that simplifies to Andres.
You have to, so when negatives kiss, you make them positive.
Okay.
And then it's 9 over 9.
9 over 9, which reduces to?
1.
1. Perfect. All right, Andres, you got your XP. Let me go back here. Boom. Andres, XP, 50. Next. All right, fill in y equals mx plus b. Someone do that for me. Quiet raise hand. Fill in y equals mx plus b with our information. Sergio.
4 equals 1
Oh, you're already subbing it in. All right. 4 is equal to 1
times 6
times 6
plus b.
plus b. That's a 6, that's a b. I know they're kind of hard to see. And the equation right before that was y equals 1x plus b. Thank you, Sergio. All right, Fernando, solve for b for us. Go.
4 equals 6 plus b.
4 equals 6 plus b.
And then minus 6 on both sides.
Minus 6 on both sides, minus 6.
And then you get negative 2 equals b.
Negative 2 is equal to b, which means, Fernando, our final equation is
Y equals 1x plus negative
x minus 2. You can say 1x or you can just say x. Either way is fine. And there's our final answer. Thank you, Fernando. Oops, that's not what I want. All right, so that concludes the notes. Make sure you have something in your summary. Talk about some of these steps. Talk about some tricks for those steps. And once you finish your summary, you can begin on the Khan Academy homework.